What's going on, YouTube family? Let's talk about this Israel-Iran war. It's now an all-out conflict. Uh, and now in the news, they're talking about possibly striking the Ayatollah of Iran. Okay? And so that right there, that would be a game changer, as they say, because the Ayatollah, he's not like just the supreme leader of Iran. He's like he's like what the Pope is to the Vatican, right? What the Pope is to the Catholic Church as a whole around the world. The supreme figurehead of the Catholic Church would be the Pope, right? And the Ayatollah of Iran, he is the supreme leader, the figurehead of the Shia Muslims around the world, right? So we're not talking about, like just taking out a president of a country. You're talking about actually taking out uh, with many see as their supreme leader, their pope in a sense. And that right there, I mean, just the fact that they're even talking like that, and that's pretty amazing. I mean, it's one thing to go after the nuclear sites. I can back that, right? I can get the strategic logic behind that. Uh, Nobody wants Iran to have a nuclear weapon, okay? I mean, Iran has shown themselves to be hostile to America for years. And I was just reminded, even when Donald Trump, the first time he was president, he took out one of Iran's uh, military commanders in a drone strike, right? And Iran, in retaliation, fired some missiles at a U.S. base. If I'm not mistaken, I believe a couple soldiers ended up losing their lives, but it was a tit for tat. They didn't escalate it any further because they know Donald Trump wouldn't have been playing around with them. But with this Israeli strike going after the nuclear sites, at least that's what we're told on the surface, right? But now that they're seeing that Iran isn't backing down, and you can't, can you really blame them? I mean, if somebody was attacking us in the United States, I wouldn't want us to back down. So it's almost like they're in a catch-22 because Israel is this is bigger. This has become a full-blown war. I mean, it's going on for 5 days. It's just missile exchanges, but it's ramping up. You know what I'm saying? As far as the targets that's being targeted, right? Who they're going after. And over the last few days, Israel has just taken out another high-ranking military commander after he just replaced a high-ranker. So they took out the first guy, then the next guy that got his job, they just took him out. No, I'm not applying for that position. I'm good. I'll turn that down because obviously the next person that step up, he's on the target list. And what kind of intel does Israel have over there? They seem to know everything that's going on in Iran. So man, I'll give it to the Israelis. Well, hey, they are not playing around. I mean, they've effectively taken out Hamas in Palestine. They basically taken out Hezbollah in Lebanon, and both of those organizations were being funded and trained by Iran. That was like their proxy army. And so once Israel has taken those two out, now they're turning their attack to Iran. And it went from just at first taking out their air defenses. Now they're going after the nuclear sites. But it's ramping up to the point where they're actually talking about regime change. And I mean, we've seen how that worked out in Iraq and Libya and all these other, even in Syria now. And Syria was a long time ally of Iran, and so they pretty much lost that Shia ally coming from Iran when what's his name? Assad just got taken out in their civil war. So yeah, it's getting pretty nasty now, and I don't know about them taking out the Ayatollah of Iran. I'm not. I don't know how to really feel about that because, like I said, that'd be like somebody taking out the Pope. Essentially, it's the same that same level. You're talking now. It'll be oh man, it'll get ugly. And so when you look at this thing from a biblical worldview, it's yeah, we're like it's like a wild moment. Because uh, Iran is allies with Russia. They're strategic economic partners. And if Russia starts back and China, it's really that alliance: China, Russia, and Iran. I mean, they have strategic interests in being allies against the West. And if they go after the Ayatollah of Iran, this may possibly draw Russia and China in. Then we're talking, yeah, we'll be knocking on the door of World War III for sure, right? And so, yeah, we just need to keep our eyes peeled for this one. Just the fact that they're even talking about it, I know it could just be blustering. To send a warning to Iran, like, look, we're not playing around. We will take out your man. And then we know Donald Trump ain't never really been one to bluff. He's not the blustering kind of guy, right? So to see that he's even, floating the idea. And then my thing is, okay, you take him out, then who replaces? Do you really want a region that's just out, just a civil war over there as well? All these different factions fighting for power over there. I mean, it's almost like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But yeah, this is definitely something to keep our eye on now. It was one thing for Israelis to go after the nuke sites, but now there's talk of regime change, and maybe that was the focus all along, right? Was to take out the supreme leader of Iran and force a regime change in Iran. I can see the overall uh, logic behind it strategically. I mean, if you have an enemy, you want to destroy your enemy. You don't want to just hit him in the nose and give him a bloody nose and tell him, to be good. It don't work like that, right? And so, yeah, I think the Israelis with this one, their plan is like we're gonna finish this thing once and for all. And if it gets to that level right there, folks, yeah, we're gonna see it. And there's a lot of pushback, even amongst Trump voters. The MAGA crowd, as they say. There's a lot of people that's not really supportive of us as Americans getting involved again with the Israelis. And a lot of people don't know why that we even support Israel. Me personally, as a Christian man, I'm glad that we do. We should protect the Holy Land, right? And so I look at it from that aspect. As an American Christian, hey, I support the peace of Jerusalem. And so with that being said, I think we should lend military support and be an ally of the Israelis, just off a pure biblical worldview. But I know many aren't Christians that's in the MAGA crowd. Not every MAGA Trump supporter is a Christian, And so a lot of people, they don't see the need for the U.S. to be supporting Israel and possibly getting involved in another Middle Eastern war, right? And I understand that as well, right? But coming from a Christian mindset with a biblical worldview, yeah, we absolutely should be on the side of the Israelis, of the Jewish people. So that's my Christian perspective on this historic moment that we're seeing on the earth today. And let's keep our eyes peeled for it, right? So if you like what I do, hit me with a like. If you haven't subbed, please subscribe, support the channel, and leave a comment. I welcome it all, good or bad. Until next time.